Um, back back when I back when I first had my stroke, and I was living in a world where everything was completely different than the one that I had carved out for myself initially. I had to do some really, really hard and terrible things, and it seemed like that season, which lasted a few years, and it's still kind of lasting if I'm being honest, um, was terrible. It was terrible. Gosh, it was terrible, and I honestly thought before all that mess happened that I kind of had my thing. Like I had my big traumatic experiences, and they were many and they were horrible. I thought that was my little bag that I would come from, and I would minister to people from that place because that's what I had at that time. And I thought, okay, this is gonna be my thing. But then, then the stroke happened and post stroke life began, and it was a horrible situation. And I kept saying to myself, we do what we have to do when we have to do it. Because there were just so many things that I had no control over that I was having to do. Well, the other day, yesterday, I went on a walk. And my equilibrium, my balance right now is a little bit off. And I don't like it at all. Um, and so I went on a walk. And what happens now, post stroke, is that when I find myself being physically active, my back often spasms really badly, and I have to take a beat and do whatever to, get back right. And it happened yesterday while I was on my walk, and my back hurt so badly. Oh my goodness! And so I went, in my estimation, not far enough to be in that kind of pain. And so I was very, 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 very sad with myself and upset with myself, and cried about it a little bit when I got back home. And just a second ago, I was thinking about where I'm going to walk today and what needs to be done. I set a different course for myself, a much smaller one. Now, I began to feel badly about it. I just felt bad about it. I felt ashamed, and nobody's here to feel ashamed for, but I felt a sense of personal shame because, like, I was dogging myself out internally about how small of a distance where I'm going to go today is compared to where I went yesterday. And how I was even ashamed yesterday of how small that distance was. And now I'm going smaller? Are you joking? But then I remembered the whole span of time where I was saying we do what we have to when we must. And what I do know is that because I've been through this before and having to basically learn how to walk again at all, like even stand up by myself without crutches or a cane or a wheelchair or a walker. What I know from that whole place is that eventually your baby steps turn into miles. But it does take time, and you do have to just kind of go with the process and acknowledge that you are where you are. So, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing today physically. Now, you could be in a place where you're having to do the same thing physically or perhaps emotionally. You're having to do some things that you thought I've already done this before. I'm past this. Or maybe physically you're having to do some things where you're like, I should be better than this. I'm over this. Like, we do what we have to do when we have to do it. And there is no shame in starting over. Gosh, how many times do we fall and bust our butt in the course of life and have to pick ourselves up and start all over again? So be encouraged today if that's what you have going on. If you're someplace where you're like, I should be beyond this. I'm better than this. I did whatever the negative thoughts are about what you're dealing with. We do what we have to do when we have to do it. And eventually, those little baby steps, or even just learning how to stand up again, learning how to walk again, become so pedantic, you don't even notice them anymore. You're running marathons and you're hiking mountains and you're doing all of those things. But you gotta start somewhere, so don't be afraid to start. All right.